Hi Flosstube, happy February. This is Becky, the main girl in Arizona, and this is my February video. Before I get started with all my usual drama, I wanted to say thank you to my returning viewers and to the 5 new subscribers I had this last month. It means a lot to be able to show my favorite things to more and more people, and as much as I enjoy other people's videos, I feel like I want to give back a little and share with other people. So welcome. It's a little dark. I took down Christmas today. I know it's February, but here's the thing. There's a plan. So I grew up putting Christmas up on Black Friday and taking it down January 1. And I always thought as a kid how that was a terrible way to start the new year. And we had real trees, and so there was a reason for that. But I always was like, oh, you know, Christmas is over, we're going back to school, and it's depressing because now we took down all the lights. And I grew up in Maine, so it was dark. And so when I got married and we had our own tree and we lived in Minnesota and it was dark and cold, we ended up leaving the tree up actually quite a long time because we ended up with a fake tree because we weren't allowed to have a real tree. So we left it up one year. I don't remember which year it was, but it was the year that we had 27 below zero in Minneapolis. And I think that tree stayed up until almost May, and each strand of lights was going out one by one until there was only one strand left. And we're like, we better take the tree down. It's May. But it was so cold and snowy that year. It was terrible. So I think we had reason. Anyway, we didn't ever do that again though. So after that, we decided that we would take it down Martin Luther King weekend because, you know, you get an extra long weekend and it's already, you're kind of into the new semester and it's fine. Well, this is getting into a little bit of my hobbit hole, so I'll be quick. Right before that weekend this year, my husband Kent found out that his dad had fallen up in Oregon, and so he ended up leaving in the middle of the week before Martin Luther King weekend and driving up there to spend some time with his dad, make sure he was okay, put up some handrails and things so he wouldn't fall again, you know, just generally fix up things around the house and stuff like that. So I didn't want to take it down. I was by myself, so that's already lonely and sad. I didn't want to take down Christmas while he was gone, and then he got back this last week. And of course, in the middle of the week, nobody's taking anything down. So this was my first real chance to take things down. And this is my rationalization. In the medieval times, they used to leave their Christmas decorations up until February 2, which was called Candlemas. I think also Imbolc, maybe? I'm trying to think of the old Celtic holidays. But anyway, and so they left their Christmas decorations up all through January. So I don't want to make a habit of it, but I feel like there's precedent. But now I'm kind of sad, you know. So I'm videoing you. You guys will cheer me up, right? So let's get on with it. I'll stop chattering and talking about Christmas decorations because I'm sure you all were very responsible people and took yours down at, you know, the beginning of the month, beginning of January, right? All right, so without further ado, let's get going. I have a couple finishes, which were also new starts. So, I mean, that's always nice. And then I have a few other new starts, one of which I might have shown you, I'm not sure. And then just some progress. So let's go. Oh, all right. Did I set them somewhere silly? I must have done. Excuse me. I did set them somewhere silly. All right. I guess I reversed my usual order. All right, so first finish. It is a finish for now because it is part of a series and I'm going to do the whole series on one piece of fabric. So this is Silver Creek Samplers Sing a Sampler. I'm going to do the whole thing on this piece of fabric this year. This was close to the middle, so I stood the other ones there. So I started it Ray and started and finished it this month. I am doing color changes Shoot. It's not Jeanette Douglas. Somebody else. I will put it in the comments. She has done a conversion, and I think she got the conversion from somewhere else as well. And so I kind of went off of her conversion, but I also used different colors as well. So, but I liked the conversions I had seen online where they were all rainbow colors rather than the more muted colors. So I'm changing the colors to be more rainbow. And I'm also doing them do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then I will have to finish it into a pillow or something so that I can have it in my library next to the piano. So there we go. Next weekend, I should be starting dough. I'm going to a Super Bowl party. So I also want to stitch owls because superb owl, you know. But I think I'll also be stitching this as well. So I'm going to put that somewhere that makes sense. I don't know where that is. I'll find it. Okay, and the other start and finish. Oop, is it okay? Okay. The other start and finish I have is actually a start and sort of FFO. Elena or Julie, if you are watching, don't look for a minute. I'll tell you when you can look. So they're the same. This one is missing the wood insert that goes inside, but so there we go. So this one's actually not glued in yet. This one is. So Kent said he didn't have any wood, so I need to wait till he has a piece of scrap. But it's fine. I don't need it till next Christmas. So, okay, Elena and Julie, you can look. So those are by Victoria Sampler. The woodland creatures. Anyway, okay. So some more new starts. And now that I have it in the right order, that will be even better. I did not iron anything, partly because of taking Christmas down, and it was getting late, and I just didn't want to do one more thing. I wanted to get started because it's already whatever time it is. Oof, it's 5 minutes to 6. I better hurry. Okay, so this is by Screaming Heart Designs. This is for me. I think this is Haunted or Murky. Picture this plus. Not sure. I had both as like, because I was trying to find a color of fabric long ago and got some samples. So this is one of those, and it didn't have a label on it. So it's either Haunted or Murky. And it says 7 swans to rule them all, 6 geese to find them, 5 rings to bring them all, and in the pear tree bind them, which I am just geeky enough to think is absolutely hilarious. My husband thinks I'm ridiculous, and so I'm stitching it. It's not very Christmassy, but I thought the yellow was a good color for, anyway, it's gonna be weird. I don't usually have very weird Christmas things. Most of my Christmas things are fairly, you know, natural materials. So, you know, grapevines, straw ornaments, paper, you know, that kind of pine cones. That's kind of my Christmas shtick, but this is just weird enough to be fun, and I'll probably put it somewhere else. There's not, I don't know where I'll put it, but just to be funny. Oh goodness. All right, so I'm gonna have a pile as usual. Okay, so that was another new start, and I probably won't finish that until I finish all my Christmas ornaments for the year. So that was just like, because it was Tolkien reading day, so I figured I could pick it up on the different Tolkien days. I wonder what happened to my clips. Okay, this is Celtic Winter by Lavender and Lace. Like everybody else in the world, I'm doing a conversion. I'm going to be stitching the cloak that someone charted, and actually I'm sorry if you did chart it. I don't know who it is because I'm not on Facebook anymore to see the credits, but someone had charted a cloak and a hood, and then I'm doing a color conversion because that was in like a kind of a Prussian blue, slate blue type set of colors, and I like a more, for my winter, I like a raspberry, indigo blue, purpley rosy blue. So I'm doing it to these, as you can see, and then she will also be Native American, so she'll have darker skin and she will have gray hair. I've already started the Celtic Autumn in the green and oranges, and she'll have red hair. And the Celtic Noel, I've already stitched once as charted. That was my first big cross stitch piece, but now I'm stitching her in greens and flipping her, and she might have blonde hair. I haven't decided, but probably she'll have blonde hair because the red one has brown hair. And then later on this year, I will be doing conversions of both spring and summer and starting those as well, but I haven't done it yet. So I know what I'm going to do, but it makes no sense to talk about it until you guys can see it. So anyway, but this is my Celtic winter, which I've had kitted up and converted for a couple years now and just hadn't started. So I'm quite happy with my progress. Now this, let's see, my rotation, my normal rotation in a month is I stitch particular designs on particular days. So they'll get like all month, they'll get on a Tuesday or something. So this was, I think, on a Tuesday actually. So every Tuesday I stitched this, and that's how far I got in January. So I'm quite happy with it. But I don't have any plans to pick it up until next year. So we'll see. I need to figure that out because now I'm starting all these new starts and I need to figure out how to get them into the rotation with the things that I'm already stitching. So, but that's a next year me problem. That is not a this year me problem. Okay. And my last new start, now this one is going to be a start and finish this year because this is for my parents for their 50th wedding anniversary. This is, and I know you can tell, all of you can tell instantly what this is, right? No. This is Crosswing Designs Loon Lake. You can, little hint there. It's, this is a fabric flare, not the called for fabric. Everything else is called for. And I need to have it finished and FFO'd by July. So it'll be, I think it's a Friday night. Yeah, it's a Friday stitch. However, this last month, I did not get it picked up except for the very last, not even this past Friday, the last Friday before that. So other things kept happening, which I'll talk a little bit about later in the video. But so this didn't actually get picked up until just for one day. But I have till July to get it. Well, I have till the end of June to get it done. And then FFO right at the beginning of July. So I've got some time, but I will be spending plenty of time on that. I'll probably end up finishing in June. I always have more time to stitch after school gets out. Funny about that. Okay, so those are all my new starts and finishes. And then we have my usual rotation that I have stitched, you know, fairly regularly for the last 2 years, which I seem to like that, where I change a project every day. I don't usually stitch on a project 2 days unless I didn't get to the point where I wanted to the night before. And but all month I'm stitching the same ones, and most of the year I'm stitching the same ones. So it's enough change to keep me happy, but then I'm seeing progress. And I did that the last 2 years and I really like it. And so I don't see a reason to change it at the moment. So we'll see. Okay, without further ado, all right, I'll pick up the most recent one. Okay, so this is my Saturday stitch. This is Swans by Cottage Garden Samplings, and I stitch half of an animal each year and finish the animal the next year. And so I've already done the fox, finished that last year, or no, 2 years ago. Last winter, I finished the swans themselves, and this winter I'm doing all the other things so I'm planning to finish the swans this month. I just have basically the greenery that's up here in the corner and a few more snowflakes. So yesterday I did the cabin and all these little snowflakes on the outside. So, and I stitched that on Saturdays. Let's see. Okay, this is a Monday stitch. Now this poor dude only got one Monday in January. Some of the Mondays I was doing other stuff. Some of the one Monday I didn't stitch. That was the Monday that we found out that Kent was going to have to go up to Oregon, or we found out the Sunday, and then the Monday, and I was trying to help him pack and get ready to go. So this is Teresa Wentzler's Celestial Dragon. So I stitched on his tail the one day that I had picked him up in January. I'll do better in February, barring unforeseen incidents. But so there he is, and his is like this, so his tail goes up and around. So I'm hoping to finish the rest of the actual dragon this year and get into the rest of the border. So hopefully I can get at least the dragon and this one border line, and then we'll see how far else I get. And he just sits right here, so I'll just put him back where he goes. Okay, let's see. I told you the Tuesday. That was the Celtic winter in January. This month, the Tuesday, well, I'll talk about that when I have new starts. So never mind. Skip Tuesday for now. Okay, Wednesday. Chatelaine Wednesday. Frosty Knotgarden. Now, this one did not get worked on this past Wednesday, but it did get worked on every other Wednesday this month. I was putting in the rest of the beads, so I got all these little flower areas done, and these outlines here beaded. This past Wednesday, I had a terrible headache, and I did not want to try to focus on this, so I actually worked on something else. And I need to put all the specialty stitches in here, and then this part will be done. This is part 2 of Chatelaine Frosty Knotgarden, and I'm very excited because then I will get to come out to part 3. I had hoped to finish part 2 last year, but then I didn't. I really severely underestimated how much beading and backstitch there was, not having done a full-size Chatelaine before. So anyway, took a lot longer than I thought, but I think I have not dropped too many beads on the floor, so I think I should be fine and get into, so the next time you see this, hopefully I will have some of part 3 done. I don't know how long these will take. There's some Jessicas and some other things, but once I figure it out, I like that repeated, because once I figure it out, then I just have to do it 3 more times and it goes a lot faster. So I'm excited to get to the next part. And that part's right here on the floor. It's too big to put anywhere. Anyway, okay. Let's see, what else? So that's a Wednesday stitch. And this is a Thursday stitch. Oops, I have the, sorry. This is Leonid Afremov, Summer Foggy Forest, charted by Artecy. I'm working on the second page. I had started this in the leap year, hoping to finish 5 pages a year to finish it by the next leap year, but bogged down in all of this light color, which was hard to see. I have since gotten reading glasses, and so I did not pick it up last year, though, for various reasons. I had other things I really needed to get done, so I've picked it up now. I think I really want a tablet. You can see what I'm doing, and I'm really not happy with it, and I'm missing stitches, and it takes a lot of time. I'm having to highlight, and then I draw a square around it and then come back and highlight it when I've stitched it, but I keep missing ones. I don't have a tablet, and I don't want to keep using Ken's iPad because he uses it for school, and so I can't count on having it or having it charged when I need it. So I don't know. Ideas about a tablet? Should I try to find a cheap iPad or a cheap Android tablet? You know, what do you guys recommend? This is my first full coverage, and it might be my last if I can't make this work better, because I don't think it's going to get better when I get further into the design and into more colors, because this is pretty monochromatic. And then when I get into the forest a little more and it's more greens, I'm gonna have a hard time. So yeah, I appreciate any suggestions. I like it. I think I'd like it better with the tablet though. So I thought I could get away without one, but it's already taking longer than I like because it's full coverage and I'm not used to that, but then it's taking even longer than that because of hunting and finding stitches and things twice. First to mark them and then to do them, which I know that you guys are all very familiar with, but I am not. Okay. So I've talked about everything except, and I did talk about my Tuesday night stitch that was for January. And then this is my Sunday night stitch, and I also have the pattern. Holy moly. Sorry guys, I am not prepared. Okay. This is Amybear Designs Night Flight. It's a needlepoint counted canvas design. I had previously finished Desert Sunset. It's another stylized bird that's flipped and with oranges and purples so that it's a seagull over a sunset ocean. This is going to be a full moon, and the seagull's going to be over a nighttime ocean, all in blues and greens and browns. So right now I'm just doing the outline. And he does tend to get neglected because when I run out of time on Sundays, he kind of gets pushed to the side. So he only got one day this month. I added some of this stuff down here. I will be doing him tonight though. I'm determined that I will work on him because I do want the outline done so I can do the fill. The fills are nice, and I can usually do one fill on a Sunday night. So once I get the outline done, then the fills don't take forever, except for this one. Oh, that took forever the last time. Anyway, so those are my weekly rotation basically. And then before I get into what I'm doing on Tuesday nights because that'll be my new start, on what I'm doing on Tuesday nights in February, I'm going to talk about the things that I do once a month, which I just managed to knock some stuff on the floor. Hang on. Good job. All right. So on the 19th of every month, and I know you have seen this guy before, it's kind of nice doing this in the dark because I'm not getting some glare from the window. This is Andriana Designs kit. It's a Russian kit. I got it several years ago in memory of my grandmother, and I stitch it on or around the 19th of every month in her memory because that was her birthday. At some point he will go into my regular rotation because he's just much too big to be stitched 2 hours a month and expect to make any kind of progress. But right now that's all he's getting. So I was just working on this lighter cream color just here in his face, and on the sides here I filled that in. So I don't like the floss in the kit. It's rough. It feels like I'm stitching with linen floss, kind of. So I don't really like that, but we'll survive. And I just threw Screaming Heart Designs into the trash can. Holy moly. I need a better system here. So that's my grandmother's in memoriam piece, and gets stitched on the 19th of every month. This is for my father-in-law, and his birthday is the 1st, but usually I like to do a new start around the 1st, which I'm not doing today, but so I stitch this every month on the 2nd, and I just started that this year. So this is Crossed Wing Designs Dog's Day Out on the called for fabric, which is a custom dye by Crossed Wing for this design. I had most of the tree done, and I think I did this quadrant here of the tree. So now I just need to do the small squirrel that's here, and probably, I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle getting to the next tree. I may do another dog so that I can get to the next tree. It's a line of trees with dogs all over. So that's a tomorrow problem. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow night, I think. Yeah, because that's the 2nd. So see, Celestial Dragon's not going to come tomorrow because that's a Monday, but I'm going to do this because it's the 2nd. So you can see it's not a perfect system. And then this is for my mother-in-law. This is by Raise the Roof Designs, Crabby All Year. And it has, of course, 12 different things to complain about, one for each month. So I worked on taxes. Some of the black was already stitched, I think the S and then this line. So I finished crossing the X's, finished the taxes and the paper. I think the paper might have been done or partly done. So, and so I will continue on that this month, and we'll see how far I get on it, because there's actually, I have to stitch the whole, I have to fill this, which is not fun. I just do not like doing that kind of stitching at all. So that one is done except for buttons, rabbits. And then this one is the heat, and there's going to be little egg buttons. This is a frying pan. So anyway, it's cute. She'll get a kick out of it. It's her humor. All right, so that's getting stitched every month on the 10th this year, because I'm also trying to finish that. And every month on the 25th for the past few years, I have chosen a Christmas design that I think I could finish in the year if I stitch it every month, and trying to finish it. So last year I did Dreaming Miss Claus by Barbara Anna, which was actually a start and finish, and that was a little ambitious because I hadn't actually started it, and I didn't start it right away in January, so I had to do some extra stitching on that. And the year before, I did a Barbara Anna Designs the Let It Snow with the scissors, and then the year before that, I did a Blackbird Designs. It's the cardinal with the branch that everybody does. So now I have some Christmas stitching in my house, which I like. So I'm happy about that. So then I was like, I was going to do my Christmas squirrel this year. That had been the plan. And then I got thinking why I have Kent's stocking more than halfway done. If I work on it every month, I should have it done before Christmas, and I can start mine. Not FFO'd, but just finish stitching, because I work on it very little. And it's like, here we've been married for over 20 years and neither one of us has a stocking. And I mean, not that that's the end of the world by any means, but it's like, well, if I'm going to make stockings, we better hurry up about it. We're not getting any younger. So anyway, here is what I have done. This is a Rosewood Manor. I think this one is called, there's a Let It Snow and White Christmas. I think this is the White Christmas, and the one I'm going to have is Let It Snow. So I changed some of the colors a little bit so that they were a little more, I don't know, a little more masculine, if you will, more darker colors, maybe. So I did this, it's floppy. I did the lowest row. And that actually got more than a day because the row took longer. So that actually took up one of my days where I was supposed to be doing something else this month. But I wanted to finish the row because when I picked it up again here in February, I wanted to do another row and not be finishing the row I was on. I'm only going to do it for one day a month. I want to actually finish something. So that's going to get worked on around the 25th. I don't think actually on the 25th. No, because we're getting company that night, so it'll be done before that. And then one other thing that I did get a board out, but you know, whatever, I'm not using it today. Nothing's normal today. Is anything ever normal? Honestly. This is Lindy Stitch's Stitch for Sweet Freedom. This is one of my patriotic stitches, and I stitched this on the 19th for Martin Luther King Day. And I finished the last bit of the words. I worked up from the bottom, and so I finished this line of words. And I think that actually got an extra day too, maybe? Or maybe I just stayed up really late. So now I just have the motifs at the top and the rest of the motifs at the bottom. And this one should be done this year. I don't know if it'll be done by July, but it'll be done sometime this year. I'm excited. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the new starts I'm planning for February. And I did say new starts plural because, you know, I don't have enough to do. I'm going to start some new things. So this will be my Tuesday stitch. Blue Flower, Seasons of the Heart, Winter. I'm going to start each one of the seasons, 4 seasons this year. Yes, I know that there's others and I'm planning on getting those, but this year I'm just doing the 4 seasons and they're all kitted and ready to go. So this is, of course, winter. So even if you can't tell by how it is outside in Arizona. But anyway, I don't know if I will be able to finish this in February. So I'm thinking like the Sing a Sampler, I'm doing 1 per month on most of the months, but there's only 8 of them plus the border, and I don't find that that's going to take me all year. If I really focus on them, seeing a sampler box, I could finish it in 2 different days if I stitched a long time. So, you know, if I finish those early, I might be working on this, because I just did a blue flower last year that's, I think, about the same size for my cousin's wedding, and it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So if this is the same, then I'm not going to get this done in a month by just doing it 4 different times. So I would like them done. So I will probably, you know, put myself out to finish them, unless it's just ridiculous, and then I can do it another time. But anyway, it makes a nice thing to carry around too. If I have to go places or sit in meetings or whatever, it makes a nice thing to carry around. So that'll be my Tuesday stitch for February. I'm gonna have a mess and a half. The other thing that I like to do is I like to do Christmas ornaments. As you saw, the ones that I finished in January, and this year I'm going to do Quirky Quakers for everybody that I usually make ornaments for. Except the 2 that I just showed you. So, since it's Super Bowl next week, Super Owl, I thought I will do, my first 2 Quirky Quakers will be the Snowy Owl, I'm covering up the pattern, and this regular owl. So I would have to look at my list to see who they're going to be for, but they are for particular people, and I don't know how long they'll take. Probably I only will get one done on a Super Bowl day, but then another Sunday I will do another one. And then that leaves me with a Sunday open to maybe do some more of the blue flower or whatever. I'm trying to leave myself some wiggle room, because stuff happens. Like, see, this Sunday I didn't do stitching because I was taking Christmas down, but I didn't intend to take Christmas down this week. So, you know, things happen. Is that everything? I mentioned dough. I could show you dough, I guess, but I put it down now. The Winter Heart, Quirky Quaker. Oh, right in front of me. If it was a snake, it would bite me. So this is, I finished the last of 4 designs last year for a baby quilt for a friend, and I'm starting the second, because I already finished one, the second of 4 designs for the next child. So this is, I'm not going to say floss. It's just going to have the animal on it. So this is by Rocking Horse Designs, and I'm debating, because the animals in the other one were pink and gray, and the one animal that I've already stitched is blue and gray, and so I'm wondering if I should make the tiger gray and blue, or if I should just let him be real. But I need to figure it out, because I'm starting it this Wednesday. I have an all-day training, and there's nothing better to do in an all-day training but sit and stitch. So, especially so I don't get too crabby. So I need to figure that out actually by Tuesday night. We'll find out. Stay tuned. Anyway, so that's plans. So now I have haul. I better move that so I can find it when I need it. Okay. Haul. So I am... I forgot again the name of the shop where I'm getting my traditional stitches. I think it's Traditional Stitches. But I have subscribed to the Year in the Woods Cottage Garden Samplings, Year in the Woods number 2. So by my plans, I'm taking 6 years to finish Year in the Woods 1, so this will take another 6 years. So, but I like the animals, I like the style. I don't like every single animal, and I might try to swap a couple out or change a couple of them. But at this point, I really like the ones in this new one, so I'm happy that I've been subscribing. This is the one that just came a few days ago, Bobcat. So I really like that. Quite happy. I could even give him extra tufty ears and say he's a lynx, but then I'd have to make him more furry, I think. So maybe I will leave it alone. And then this one, I don't know why it took me so long to figure out how to get a PDF copy of this, but this is these stitches. Yeah, these 20 stitches toonies, which was made a year and a half ago or so for Stitch North. And I've been wanting a copy of this, but it's shown as sold out. but that was for the hard copy, and everybody is stitching this on Instagram, and I finally managed to get a link to the PDF, and I'm very happy. So I don't need to start something else, especially since I'm already stitching on some loons, but this would be for me, and I might start it. But I will, since it's for me, it won't be started anytime soon. I need to get some other things done first, so it probably won't get started this year. And that is haul that is from me. Oh, and I just bought the snowy owl, the Quirky Quaker snowy owl. I thought that I already had it, and I didn't, so I had to just buy that on Etsy just now, so that I could be ready to start it next week. So that was actually haul 2, although accidental, because I thought I had it already. Okay, and this isn't haul, this is Stitchy Kindness, and I think I've shown one of these already, but I couldn't remember, and so I will show it again. I've been getting knitwear. I got a shawl for my birthday, and then this for Christmas from a different friend. It's a slouchy hat. It's not itchy. She said it's cashmere yarn. Look at this little, so cute. And it doesn't itch. Like I have other wool hats and you put them on and you just itch on the edge and you just put up with it because otherwise you're cold. And it's so soft. So anyway, and then the same person made me this and just gave it to me. So this is a little piece of linen. This is a design that's going around. Oh goodness, I will look for it and I will link to it. It's a Norwegian hat that was used during World War II as a resistance to the Nazis during Nazi occupation, and she just made it for me because I saw everybody doing it online and I thought it was so cool. So she just gave this to me yesterday actually, and so she's made me 2 hats now this year. I can only wear one at a time. And I laughed at her. I said, I'm going to have to go up to Flagstaff or something. It's not really winter here in Arizona anymore. It's down to the 40s and up to the 70s. Although I might take I might take this one to school though, because it's cold in my classroom. And I'm always wearing a sweater or this scarf or something in my classroom because I get cold. Anyway, so yeah, I got 2 hats, and another friend, a third friend, just made me these mittens because I had asked her to fix one of my mittens that was having a worn piece of yarn right here where your index finger is. And she wasn't sure if she could fix it. So she's like, I'll just knit you new ones. I'm like, is that easier? I mean, I'm not going to say no, but look at, they're so fuzzy. So I also just got these yesterday. So I'm feeling very, very knitted for. So this is really cool and I love it. So it's too warm to have them on. And I can't take them to school because I have to use my computer. But I love them very much and I'm feeling very, very loved and knitted for. So, and that's all I have for you for stitching. I have a couple recommendations of floss tubers and patterns and designers, but I'm going to talk about a couple of the things first. And then so if you want to hang on a few minutes, I won't take too long. I'm going to do things a little out of order than I usually do. But this would be the end of the normal cross-stitching section. And then what I call going into the hobbit hole, where I just share a bunch of life stuff, like just if I've gone on an adventure, because you know Mr. Bilbo and his adventures. So if I've gone on an adventure, I usually share that in some photos or video, and then I give a bunch of recommendations because hobbits love their creature comforts, and I am definitely a hobbit. So I share books I've read, music I've listened to, things I've eaten or cooked, and wish lists for designs and new designers and things like that. So it's all recommendations. It doesn't take super long, but if you only wanted to see the stitching, I'm not going to show you any more stitching, except maybe a couple recommendations, which will be in the show notes so you can look at them without watching this part. If you would like to stay in the hobbit, or if you'd like to go into the hobbit hole and stay with me for another few minutes, just hang on for a second. I'm going to sip some tea and let other people exit the hobbit hole or not knock on the door or whatever. All right. Yes, this is a Bangkok mug. Usually I have my teacher mug, but that one is in the wash. We lived in Bangkok for 2 years, so I did get this at the Starbucks in Bangkok because of course you have to. So welcome to the Hobbit Hole. I am going to do things a little out of order, like I said, but the first thing I will talk about is little adventures. So it snowed in Tucson, not in Tucson proper, but it rained, and then so of course it snowed up on top of the mountain on Mount Lemmon. So we went up. That was the first weekend of January, and that was partly why I didn't stitch that much that weekend, because I had gone up the mountain. Hard to stitch when you're playing in the snow. I did wear this hat, and even though I got hot and took it off, it was not itchy, and I was very, very happy. And I do miss snow. I don't miss having to deal with it all winter, but I do miss the snow on the trees and being able to wear cuddly things and whatever. So every time it snows up on the mountain, we like to go up. And there is a ski lift up there, believe it or not. It's the southernmost ski lift in the US except for Hawaii. So I don't know if it ever actually got open this year. It might have for a few days, but last year it was open for a long time, all the way through March, I think. So, it just depends on how much rain we get, because that pretty much translates to snow. It tends to be 20 to 30 degrees colder up on the mountain than it is down in the valley at any given time. So it just depends on, the temperature down here and if we get some rain. So we did, and we had lovely snow. We went snowshoeing, and I had a great time. We taught someone else to snowshoe. And it is always funny because you can tell which people grew up elsewhere versus the people that grew up in Tucson when you go up the mountain, because, there's people with plastic bags on their feet because they don't have boots and they're just using their shoes, which, I mean, that's a cool hack. But then there's people that actually have gear like us who lived other places for years and years and years. So, and then of course, if we were to go up to Flagstaff, they get lots and lots of snow. Apparently, Flagstaff is the US's snowiest city, which seems really odd to me because you would think it would be somewhere in Alaska or somewhere else, but apparently I guess it has to do with the precipitation amount. So that's weird, but I looked it up several times to be sure. But we're not going up to Flagstaff this year, but another year, and then I can wear my sweaters for longer. The other thing I did, and I did this, was that last weekend? Or was it? No, it was Martin Luther King weekend, when I should have been taking down my Christmas. Kent wasn't here, and so I went with actually the person that made this and the person that made my birthday shawl, and we went to the Desert Museum and looked at all the animals. There wasn't a lot of flowers to be seen. There were some, but we mostly just went to look at the animals. And the Desert Museum does this cool thing where they have raptors that have been rehabilitated for some reason and can't be released into the wild. They also rehabilitate raptors and release them, but the ones that they can't release, they do this thing in the wintertime from October to March when it's not nesting season, and every day, or not every day, I think it's just on the weekends, they have this thing they call Raptor Free Flight, and they have the trainers out and around this area, and then the people all stand in one spot, and then they have the birds fly back and forth, and sometimes they fly quite close to the top of your head. And then they tell you about them while they're flying them around. And it is a free flight. So sometimes sometimes one of the raptors flies off and they have to, not bring out the others because they don't want to bring out two different kinds at the same time and have them fight or anything. So I have some pictures of that, and then some pictures of some of the other animals and a few flowers that were at the Desert Museum. So that's the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. So... and I will put the pictures of Mount Lemmon first, and then I will put the pictures of the Desert Museum. So now, usually I talk about art and food, but I'm going to leave that to the end. Right now I'm going to do a couple cross-stitch things that I have been looking at this month. There's a new to me designer called Artecy Designs. She's not new, I just hadn't run into her designs particularly. I saw her mousse that she made this year, and I really want to get my hands on it, and I don't know where it was, so I can't seem to find it. But she has some other very cute things, and she just came out with some tundra swans that actually reminds me a little bit of the Quirky Quaker style, but they're bigger, and so I think that would make a really cute ornament. So that was a designer that I just discovered myself, or just noticed myself. And then, have you guys, the Nashville stuff is starting to come out. I'm so excited. I need everything that the Blue Flower has designed for Nashville. I'm very excited about it. I don't usually need everything that she designs, but most things. But this time I think I really do need everything, including, and this is what I'm going to talk about just now, is the new spring drum. I don't usually do drums, but the spring drum is so cute, and I'm hoping, since I like it, that there's going to be an autumn and a summer and a winter drum also, because I really love seasonal sets. I mean, don't we all? But even if she doesn't, you know, I think it's so cool. And so I'm going to be very good, but one or two of them, and she's continuing her Tudor series, because I've seen the Tudor Ermine and the Tudor Swans, and there's another one. And then she just did 2 more Tudor animals. Just like, I love series, and I liked those years ago when she did them, and I'm so excited that she's doing some more. So I definitely not marked safe. I have to at least add them to the wish list, if not buy a couple. Sorry, I just hit the desk with my chair. That's what I get for wiggling. Anyway, so that is designer and pattern that I have had to add to my wish list. And then not a new Flosstuber. I had already subscribed to her, Crafty Emily, but she just posted just earlier today, and she is going to start a long dog, but she's going to do it in beads. Yes, beads. I'm just going, oh my goodness. Now, she did pick a small one. She said it's one of the peccadillos, so those are kind of small, and she said she's picking guilty pleasure, but she's going to do it all in beads. So Deborah, this is something to do. Not that you needed anything else to do. Deborah lives here in Tucson, and she did feathers from Rosewood Manor all in beads. So, which I thought is very cool and also very crazy. So there you go. Now, Deborah, you need to pick a long dog to do in beads. Challenge. Anyway, so yeah, Crafty Emily, go check it out. Her beads are gorgeous, and I'm so excited to see this turn out. It's going to be so cool. Okay, so book time. Still reading my Pride and Prejudice retellings. You know, if you ever sat down and searched for any, you will know that there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So, you know, that's kind of my general reading, because it's a comfort read. I already know the story's going to turn out more or less. And so even though the events are different, or the people are sometimes different things, it's still, I know how it's going to end out. And when I'm stressed, that's the kind of reading I need to do, because I don't need stress in my reading. And I unfortunately, and I guess I'm probably have high functioning anxiety, because I don't like to watch movies. I find them stressful. But I also like alternate history type stuff. And so I guess the retellings or the changes for the Pride and Prejudice is or fairy tales. I get a kick out of when people retell them or change them too. So like the basic premise or the basic story is the same, but then they change it. So I think that's also why I like alternate history, because I know the event and then I see how they change it and then what happens because of that. Like, I don't know. It's just a niche that I really tend to appreciate. So, but that's what I've been reading most of the time. But I also had some new books in series come out by authors that I like. For example, in January, I read most of the series by Sharon Lee and Steve Miller, the Leonid books. I've talked about them before on here. She didn't come out with a new book, but she was starting to reread them. And so I started to reread them, and I was going to stay with her, and then I just kept going. So it doesn't show up on my Goodreads because I've already read them before, but that was what I read for most of January, was rereading most of that series. I haven't reread everything from that series yet, but I thought I might read something else. But I read like the core books up until the most recent. And then there's a few like prequel ones that I didn't reread yet. But the book I wanted to talk to you about, not those two things, but Martin Davies' Mrs. Hudson series. So again, it's a retelling sort of. No, it's not a retelling though. It's a spin-off of Sherlock Holmes, but focusing on Mrs. Hudson's tweenie, her little scullery maid that she has, so she and Mrs. Hudson help solve different mysteries. And so a new one just came out. I think it's like the 11th or 13th in the series or something. And so I read that. I do recommend the series. I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it. There's another series that's from Mrs. Hudson's viewpoint. Mrs. Hudson is solving the mysteries, and in this series she is as well, but it's from the viewpoint of her tweenie, not Mrs. Hudson herself. So I like that as well. And I like the Laurie King series. So that's a favorite. I don't know when she's coming out with a new one, but I'd be very excited when she does. So again, it's a spin-off. It's a retelling, and not a retelling because they're new stories, but it's a spin-off. So same. I like it. Sorry, not sorry. So that's my book recommendation. And then my music, we had a concert that we went to. Kent was up in Oregon, like I said, and on Instagram, he got an ad and I got an ad within a few days of each other for this concert here at the University of Arizona. Vikingur Olafsson, who is a Grammy-winning pianist from Iceland. So this is classical music. I am a classically trained pianist and organist and singer. So yeah, most of what I'm going to recommend is that. So it was wonderful. Before you get cranky, he has a way of playing that brings out melodies where a lot of times, and I am including myself in this, you're just playing the notes but not bringing out necessarily the melodic line or extra emotive, if that's the word I want, extra texture, extra anyway, he's bringing out extra things that I'm not used to hearing when I listened, especially to Bach. He played two different Bach things, and it was very nice to listen to. And then he played two Beethoven sonatas and a Schubert sonata. And it was wonderful. It was expressive. It was interesting. The melodic lines were very easy to follow, even when they went down into the bass. He brought out a lot of feeling and depth to the music. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to link down below to his Spotify and, or you could YouTube him, I guess, or buy his album. But I really enjoyed it. And, even though it was a weeknight, we had a lovely time. So that was this last Tuesday night. So again, I didn't really stitch that day. January has been full of things that have kept me from stitching as much as I wanted to. And some of the things were my own head, and some of them were things around me, and some was both. But that was my music this month and concert. So now let's talk food and art. So also January was full of things that kept me from cooking the things that I had planned to cook, and I cooked other things, but then we've eaten them all. I actually don't have any food in the house right now, and I need to, when I get done here while this is uploading, I need to go make something so we have food for tomorrow, which is not usually my Sunday night activity. So we'll see how much Night Flight gets, because it's 20 to 7 already. We may be defrosting something tomorrow. Anyway, so my tree. I think I've shared these last year, but kumquats. So if you've never had kumquats, you eat the entire thing. The rind is sweet. It's a citrus. The rind is sweet and the inside is sour. So we have 2 kumquat trees, and our kumquat tree has been very prolific. It's not as prolific this year, but we certainly have plenty of them to eat, and sometimes I take them to school. My students like them. So that's one thing. So if you have not tried a kumquat, this is kumquat season, so do try if you see them in your special grocery store. I've seen them in Whole Foods. I don't know if I've seen them recently in Whole Foods because I don't look, because now I have a tree. And then this is another thing. I've been getting off and on boxes from Misfits Market. So the premise is that these are oddly sized produce, overstocks. Sometimes they make their own stuff. They have their own label called Odds and Ends. And you can get a box every week if you want. And you put a certain amount and you get free shipping, and then they just drop it at your door with an ice pack in it, and it's great. I like it. I don't tend to get something every week usually because you end up with a lot of produce, and I don't always eat it, within the week. So, but they don't charge you for skipping, and you can always just plug in, log in and skip whenever, and they ask you why, but it doesn't matter. You can not say. But anyway, so but this was something that we found that they sell that we really, really like, both of us. It's 5-year-old cheddar. It's crumbly and salty and strong, and we really, really like it. And I just got this in the box on Thursday, and you can see we've already gotten into it. So Kent has just made a new couple loaves of sourdough. So that is actually something we can eat in the house. And so I may go have some of this with some sourdough later. But if you haven't tried Misfits Market, try a box. Get some cheese. It's good. Yeah. So anyway. And then art. So you've probably seen Karen Hallian's designs around. She's been designing little stickers for a while, and she takes a well-known public figure, and she basically distills their message or what they stand for or whatever down into one word and puts it on there. So this, for example, is LeVar Burton. Read. All of us who grew up on Reading Rainbow, we know that. She also has done some movie characters too, as well. I know she's done Leia from Star Wars. I think she did one of the Marvel comic characters. I can't think off the top of my head recently. They're mostly women. In fact, it started out as all women, but then over time she's added some guys too. So as you can see, LeVar Burton, and because obviously I'm a teacher, Vote, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Dissent, and this is not the same series, but this is also Karen Hallian. I'll link her down below. America Has No Kings. So, and that brings me to my last adventure. So this is going to make some people upset, and I know this, and I haven't really posted it on Instagram much to my main feed because I want to see on my feed cross-stitch and art and artwork and beautiful places. I subscribe to national parks, and I subscribe to people who are photographers in different countries, animal stuff, National Geographic, people who travel. That's what I want on my feed. And of course, cross-stitch. And most of my followers on Instagram are cross-stitchers. And most of what I post is cross-stitch. Sometimes I will post something else, from my life here. If I've gone somewhere or done something, I will sometimes post. I think I posted the Mount Lemon pictures already on Instagram. So I don't tend to post other things on Instagram. I will say 90% of what I post is cross-stitch, and then there's a little bit of other things that are scenic, because that's what I want to see. However, I don't think anybody's been under a rock as to what's been going on in America in this last year, especially in this last month. I am from Maine. I am a good New England girl, brought up on the Revolutionary War. I lived in Minnesota for 9 years. I live here in Tucson. I'm an ESL teacher. My students are immigrants. All of my students are immigrants. And if I lose followers, I don't care. I mean, I like to talk to people, but if I'm talking to 2 people that agree with me and are my friends, this is not a political difference, okay? And I did grow up pretty conservative. Well, probably more center, but the conservative side of center. Because I've always had some ideas that would put me a little over the line. But that's from personal experience. And that's neither here nor there. But I cannot be a teacher. I cannot be a teacher of immigrant students and pretend like this is okay. My mom's a nurse. When nurses are getting shot in the street, when moms are getting shot in the street, when kids are getting picked up and taken away from their homes and almost dying, except for everybody freaking out on social media. Last Friday, I called out of a school and I went downtown to Tucson and I marched in the anti-ICE protest because I can't look at my students and not do something. And it feels like a drop in the bucket because honestly, the administration is not listening to the people at all. They are motivated by money. They're motivated by power. They're motivated by the desire to stay out of jail. I mean, honestly, I don't know why you need more money when you've already got more money than God. But whatever, I don't understand that mindset at all. I'm a hobbit. I like my hobbit hole. I like nice things, but I don't need to have, like Sam says, he likes his garden in the Lord of the Rings, but he doesn't need a garden grown for the whole world. One garden is enough for him. That's where I'm at. I'd like to have a little more disposable income to go and travel to some cool places, but I don't know what I would do with lots and lots of money. Except, well, no, I do, because I would open a school and teach underprivileged kids, arts and crafts and music and cool things. So I do know what I would do with lots of money. But I would not use my money to try to take over the government. I would not use my money to pay for weapons to attack people. I would not use my money and my power and my position to hurt people. I would use it to make the world a better place. And that's why I decided to be a teacher. That's why I decided to be an ESL teacher. I want the people who have had a hard time to have a better time. And I believed for a long time that America was the place where you could come and start again and have a better life than wherever you were before. It is no longer that place. I wish that my students could leave because they're not safe. But you don't teach teachers for 20 to 30 years that they need to stand in front of their kids and take a bullet for them because of a school shooter and then expect the teachers to shut up and be quiet when ICE is coming to take them. If ICE comes to our school, we have a policy they're not allowed on campus, and I'm thankful for that. And I will be very, very, very upset if I am told that I have to let them take a student away from school, but I will be doing everything I can to get that student a lawyer and to get that student back home to their house and their people with them. And if you are privileged like I am to be able to say, I don't like politics. I hate it. I hate politics. Like I said, I want to look at nice pictures. I want to look at stitching and cooking, and I want to look at book posts, and I want to look at nice things like mountains and castles and woods and animals. I don't want to look at people getting shot in the street. But I can't be the person I am and not say something. So if it loses me followers, it loses me followers. I don't care. Because honestly, if you're the kind of person For whatever reason, if you voted for this administration, you can admit you made a mistake. You're probably not even listening anymore, but you can admit you made a mistake. There's lots of reasons that people voted for this administration. But I don't honestly believe that any Stitcher would vote for this administration because you wanted people gunned down in the street, because you wanted kids ripped out of their parents' hands, because you wanted a parent ripped out of a car and a baby left in the car seat in the back in below zero weather in Minneapolis. And that's been happening. You didn't vote for citizens getting locked up because they were filming these things. That's a First Amendment right. Fourth Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, they're going. They're only convenient when they're convenient. And if you don't care about other people, care about yourself. Because if they can say that American citizens aren't citizens because their skin is brown, what's the next criteria? When is it going to be you? Because someday it will. And I don't think that my marching downtown did anything. There was thousands of us there. I don't think that march did anything because you know why? We didn't see any ice. We didn't have any pushback. People in LA got tear gassed the same day, but we had nothing. It was very peaceful. We all felt good about ourselves, but I don't think anybody was watching that disagreed. We didn't get any cusses. We didn't get any flip-offs. Nobody was there that disagreed with us. So we stood up and were counted, but I don't think it did anything for policy in Tucson. So it's going to happen again. And I don't know that I can probably call out of school every single time, to be honest, because if the school's closed, then my kids have to go home and they may not be safe. So I think another time I will just have to stay at school and make sure that they're being taken care of. But I urge everybody, call your senator, call your congressman. If you're outside the U.S., I don't know what you can do. Probably nothing, but keep us in your prayers. I'm just heartsick. I was crying taking down Christmas because I was like, nobody was getting shot in the street in December. People were getting picked up. People were dying in detention, but it wasn't so obvious. It wasn't so blatant, and it wasn't okay then either, but, it was easier to pretend that it wasn't happening. And I understand why people want to, because I want to pretend it's not happening, but I can't anymore. People I care about are fighting the fight in Minnesota and in Maine. And they're not sleeping, and they're worried. And they're trying to help their neighbors. And it's not like that here yet, but it might be soon. And so do what you can. Do what you can. I'll put a few links down below. If I am totally out of my comfort zone by calling anybody. But you can get postcards and send postcards. You can send emails. Even if you have a Democratic senator or Congress or House of Representatives, they haven't been standing up for what they should be standing up for if they're calling themselves a Democrat. And honestly, I didn't grow up thinking that the Republicans were the party of, they're the religious party. You're supposed to be like Jesus. And I can't find any place in the Bible where Jesus was taking kids away from their parents or allowing people to be dragged off. He got himself dragged off. But he wasn't allowing those things to happen to other people. He wasn't starving children. He was feeding people. He wasn't cutting health insurance. He was healing the sick. And if you think that you can be a Christian, and I am a Christian, if you think that you can be a Christian and condone that kind of stuff because of what? Abortion? I know I have some friends that's their single issue. I'm sorry. Maybe that was a thing before, but this time, no. You can't say, I voted because of abortion and then think it's okay to starve kids and lock kids up. You can't. It doesn't make sense. You can't say that you're a Christian and vote for someone who's acting like that. And if you did, you made a mistake, admit it. And you can't undo your vote, but you can do other things. You can call your congressman and say, hey, you know what? I screwed up. C.S. Lewis said, oftentimes the best thing you can do to have progress is to turn around and go back to where you made the mistake. You cannot keep progressing if you're on the wrong place, if you're on the wrong trail. And nobody likes to admit they're wrong. But you may have to. Well, no, you do have to. Because if you're a Christian, when Jesus comes and says, what you did to the least of these, what you allowed to happen to the least of these, you did to me. What you allowed to happen to the least of these, the children, the immigrants, the poor, the people who are marginalized in any way, you did to God, you did to Jesus. And if you call yourself a Christian, you cannot not keep allowing that to happen. Sorry. If I've got to get political about something, I'll do it about this, because I spend my life, and I may have to spend my life sometime. There may be a day when a school shooter comes to my school and I have to get in front of my kids and take the bullet. And I can't have that mindset and then say, oh, it's okay for them to get taken away by ICE. It doesn't work. So I'm sorry. I'll have 0 followers tomorrow, but I'll feel better about myself. And I can look my kids in the eye and say, I'm doing what I can for you. If you're still here, thank you for listening to this, and thank you for letting me be emotional about this. And, I'll talk about stitching next time. I haven't posted my FFOs from 2025 yet because Kent had the iPad and I haven't had a chance to sit down and put that video together. I may not be able to do it next week because of the Super Bowl, but I will get that FFO video up at some point here this month, now that he's back and the iPad is back in this state. If you've stuck around and you don't plan on leaving, thank you for listening. Thank you for making the choices that you have. And I will see you in March, and we'll talk about March Madness. Have a great February, and please join me in trying to make the world, our corner of the world, a better place. See you later.